Sorry, I'm trying to open my dashboard. In less than 20 seconds. How's it going, Ricky? I'm just an embarrassment. It just goes to show you having no consistency to your track surface makes your track be the hardest thing to drive in the world. That's why the Laguna Seca in the real life, I know grammar, in real life is really hard to race on because almost every single corner has a different angle to the actual track. If you look up like a GoPro from inside of a car that's gone around the track on Laguna Seca, you'll see what I mean, because you'll see the angle in the car's suspension constantly going from left to right in the corners because of the angle of the track pieces. Like the hairpin off of the first straight on Laguna, that's slightly sloped outwards at the first part of the turn in real life. So you have to slow down extra, and then it's got like a little tiny straight, almost straight piece in between, like when you're going into the hairpin. So you have to go in and like lightly throttle and re-let off as you're coming out. Then on the turn following that hairpin, you have to gradually apply throttle up until the next turn where you have to brake into the inside from way out and go in, because again the turn is it's not like embanked in the normal way a turn is, even for that track, because that track has banked turns, unbanked turns, and turns with opposite like embankments, where the turn is facing outwards even though you're turning left, sort of thing. And that's just like the track, those are just the normal track parts of it. That's not even mentioning the fact that the Laguna Seca also has the chicane. I always fuck up that. I'm not trying to sound like I know it all about tracks either. I mean, with modern day technology and the fact that there's so many people on YouTube who have driven their cars or had put a camera in a car and just recorded a lap around the Laguna Seca, you can see exactly the road surface in the different years, because sometimes the road surface obviously changes slightly when they redo the pavement, but normally they try to keep it to the same like standard that it's always been, so that when you're racing it one year you don't go back to it the next year and suddenly you have to redo a turn. Oh shit, for a second I thought I had my mic muted. And I've been alright. I've been just picking berries and stuff like that. And my neighbor, who last year told me I could pick the berries, like, didn't exactly tell me I couldn't, but they were getting persnickety in a way about me being like, back there, and it's like, I don't know what the fuck they think I'm doing. Like, I know I don't exactly look like the cleanest fucking person in the world, because I have, like, a beard and long hair, and it's not, like, perfectly trimmed into a circle. But, Jesus Christ. This dude that I met, Mike, who lives next door with the whole peppers and things, was telling me how people kept asking him, like, are you okay with that dude on your property? And stuff like that. And it's like, Mike responded to them in the same way that I would have. And that's sort of what I like about him. And he was like, what do you think he's doing? He's picking berries. Like, don't fucking bother him. They see me over there going through, like, thorn bushes, saying, like, ow, because the wind blows and, like, smacks a fucking thorn in my face. And what do they think? I'm trying to steal something from the guy's yard? I'm standing in, like, fucking 5-foot rose bushes, which are as tall as me, because I'm a tiny little native dude with long hair. My hair is getting, like, pulled in all directions by the hook-shaped thorns on these black raspberry bushes. And there are dudes, like, walking by, acting like I'm trying to fucking steal from them. When they would have, like, they saw me out in the yard with fucking Mike talking about his garden and his peppers and everything like that. It just blows my fucking mind. Like, and it's not even that. It's like the amount of people who are like, why are you picking those berries? You shouldn't be taking those berries. And it's like, the guy said I could. The guy who lives here said I could because he didn't have time to pick them all when they were ripe. And they don't stay good on the plant for a long time. They turn black, they're bad within a day or two. And people who are like, oh, I'll pick them tomorrow. It's like, tomorrow, half of the things that were good today are bad. And not only that, due to the fact that we've recently gotten an invasive species of fruit fly in the area, you can't even leave raspberries on the plant to full maturity most of the time, because the fly, which is a type of fruit fly, stings the egg with, or stings the berry with its egg, like through the center, and then a little tiny maggot grows on the inside. And from the outside of the berry, it just looks like a couple of the seed capsules are dry, which sometimes just happens to berries even without it. But if you don't have a keen eye and you don't check on the inside of every berry you pull off, 90% of the time you get a berry and it's got a fucking maggot in the center of it. And it's like, if you wait too long, the maggot develops, or more of the berries get stabbed because there's more berries on the plant, so more flies come by thinking that it's good, because the berries that are on the plant are turning rotten slightly, which is giving the smell and the signal for the fucking fruit flies to come by. Because unlike most fruit flies, they don't come when the fruit is rotted. They actually come when the fruit is just barely starting to ripen, but they only start to come and infect the ones that are starting to ripen once there are ones that are already ripe. So you normally don't notice this on the raspberries that very first start to ripe, like the first, like, handful or two of raspberries that ripen. You won't notice this, because it's those raspberries that put out the signals for the other ones if you don't pick them all the second that they starting to ripe. And people don't do that. And then the berry bush ends up having half fucked up berries that are disgusting and not even really suitable for making wine out of. And I have to tell people, it's like I was telling Mike, when you pick the berries, you have to check under every single one for a little wiggler in there. You don't want to put a berry in with all the other good berries with a little wiggler in there, and then all of a sudden a bunch of them get little wigglers because a fruit fly actually made it to full maturity inside your container. And even though your container was in a sealed zone, the fruit flies still made it. It's the same way that fruit flies transfer from bananas into people's houses, because the fruit flies lay their egg in the surface of the banana, and people have this delusion that washing the banana actually washes the fruit fly eggs off. And it does a job of reducing most of them, but the thing that actually just works is just putting them in fucking plastic so they don't get oxygen. As much as I hate advising the use of plastic, using non-degrading plastic for storing food items is actually one of the best things. I say a non-degrading plastic because most Ziploc style bags are actually slightly degrading over time and can give you small particulate amounts of plastic in your food. It's the same thing with soda bottles and water bottles. That's why they tell you not to reuse them. You have to make it out of the non-degradable plastic, like those plastic water bottles that you got for school that have the like tunk top on the thing to like open them up. The ones that are like solid plastic. You could like throw it at someone and it would hurt them, sort of thing. Those ones are fine, because again, those plastics, they're non-degrading. They don't degrade at all over hundreds of years. However, water bottles, you leave that shit outside for 5 years, bury it in the dirt, you come back to that shit and it'll be nearly dust. Either that or it'll be really, really brittle. I've seen it firsthand to the point where I don't even care. Sometimes I put plastic in my compost. And people think that's weird, but plastic doesn't actually add anything into the soil that's that bad. At least certain types of plastic, of course, you always want to look that up. You can always tell, normally on caps or on the bottle itself, it'll have a number with a little like spiral thing going around the number, and you can look up what type of plastic it is and what it's safe, how long it lasts, how long it degrades, basically the CAS number for it. But certain types of plastics are made of multiple different types of plastics, so you would have to look up the CAS number for each individual type of plastic that they made the mixture out of, which can sometimes be very, very hard to find information on. It's the same thing with like fuel additives and shit like that for sports cars. That's a resource on the internet that so few people use and are always like so dumbfounded when it comes to knowing information about certain things. How people know that, like, oh, this can right here has like a benzene diazepine, and that's just me making up a fucking word, but you know what I mean. It's got like dihexyl hydrate or something in it. Is made up of like 3 other compounds that were like slammed together and are only stable in a sealed environment. Oh shit, why did I slow down so much for that? I always make that mistake. And I'm never the person who likes to sound like a know-it-all, but I'm only a know-it-all because people refuse to fucking learn shit. It's like the double entendre of people in this current generation. How are you so smart? Why do you have to correct me all the time with things that are actually correct? And it's like, cause you couldn't take the time to take your shitty phone in your pocket and look it up. You fucking imbecile nematode leech food. Oh, fuck. This track is my nightmare. Alright, don't brake that hard for this turn. But do brake hard for that turn. That turn's so blind for me, I don't know why. I'm like a deer in the headlights to that turn. Are racing games the new wave now? I've just always wanted an off-road racing game, but literally, this isn't even the off-road racing game I wanted. It's the off-road racing game I had to settle for that doesn't even have that much off-road racing. Because the off-road racing discipline is pretty much, like, neutered due to the fact that they, like in the first crew game, released a DLC for the off-road class. Like, I'll show you what I mean. So, if I go to activities here and go to like off-road, I've already done all 3 of these. It's only got 3 different disciplines. This is 4. All the rest have 3. But the thing is, about there being like 3 in this, is that one of them only has like, there's 6 races here, but 3 of them are on the same track as another one. They're just, I'll show you what I mean from the actual map. Hold on. See what I, like, there are multiple events that take place at the same track, so like that. Well, that doesn't, those actually don't take place at the same track, but if I click on this one, and then you can see here, the ski jump and the American petrol race take place at the same place. This little track up here. Which is funny, because the ski jump rallycross isn't the one that uses the ski jump. The one that's called American petrol race is. And I don't design video games. Apparently, I'm just the guy who screams at them. Because everyone now is perfectly satisfied with getting absolute toss. To say it in a British mannerism. Here, let's do some rallycross. I don't do it that much, even though it's my favorite discipline, just because all the current rallycross tracks are really, really tiny.
This just in. British-based oil company, American.
Hey, I just... It's like I made an English joke intentionally. Cheese wheels.
What the hell are you doing in this race? I thought I told you this one was mine.
I hate the fact that this thing has a window sticker across the entire top of the fucking car.
You want to try and make a race of it? I'll school you.
If he could drive as good as he talks, there'd be no way you could beat him.
does have some kickin' tunes, though, if you like ambient radio station anyways. The other radio stations kind of suck. It's like a GTA, but without guns. And without, like, actual cool races.
I really think you can take it.
Which is a good thing, because I personally get sick of GTA's bullshit when I'm just trying to drive. Because GTA is not a driving game. This is definitely more of a driving game. It has way more physics that are going on than GTA's cars do. It's not necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. It's just, even though this one is it's like a balance between arcade and simulation. Like, you still need to know things like understeer and oversteer, when to be throttling, when not to throttle, how different car weights and body styles can respond differently to throttle while turning, and small things like that. Just small things, you know. Certain cars being completely glitched in the way that their physics work, like the Cadillac Escalade and stuff like that. The fact that a Hummer can hit higher lateral Gs in corners than some of the actual race cars is also another thing that proves this game is sort of horse baloney. I wish I could use my Hummer in this. But sadly, even though a Hummer is, in real life, an actual off-road vehicle, the only normal kind of Hummer you get in this game is a H1 Alpha, and it's only for street racing. Yeah. If you drive it off-road, like a Hummer is intended, it only goes like 60 miles an hour, because it's the street race one. You have to get the Rally Raid version, which doesn't let you customize it like this one, and put the Humvee rear end with the, like, military exhaust pipes with the fucking grating on them and shit. And it's like this, you can't put a livery on a Cadillac Escalade in this game. You just can't. You can't put a livery on it. Can't even make one for it. Because cars are all grouped by class. So it's like you can only use rallycross cars and rallycross races and stuff like that. Meaning, like me, if you want to get a car, and you like a specific car, but you want it in all the different classes, you have to get every single different version of it. So, I have a Challenger SRT 8 Monster Truck Edition. Rallycross Edition. What's this over here? Oh, it's the Rally Raid Edition. What's that? It's the Drag Race Edition. It's the Drift Edition. And then all the way over here we have the Challenger SRT Hellcat. And then there's also, if I go into the catalog and go to Dodge, there's also the normal Challenger SRT 8 392 that you can get for street racing. So, again, just how convoluted this fucking bullshit is. Like, why? It's honestly just excessive looking at the same car 8 times because you don't just have swappable parts. Like, a smart game would just have swappable parts in between all these cars that would turn them into the different car, basically. Really, all these things are a frame with a body stuck on top of it. So calling it a Dodge Challenger SRT 8 is just a joke in reality. All monster trucks are made like that. They have no actual remnants of the car that their skin is. skins purely just for show. Know it all. It's like this guy knows everything. Those things, half of them don't even bolt that shit to the frame of the monster truck. They just have it pinned. And when they hit the ground or hit a jump hard enough, it just pops off and the body rips.
What the hell are you doing in this race?
That's why it always breaks into like the same kind of pieces every time the monster truck breaks into pieces. They're the type of vehicle literally made to be built and taken apart. Because the entire thing has to, or I mean they used to have to be made out of entirely custom made parts. But now you can actually buy aftermarket parts to turn normal vehicles into monster trucks, like hydraulic shocks and shit like that. They just cost a boatload of money, and you have to know how to make your own brackets for mounting that kind of suspension. It's sort of like how Dodge and Ford started doing the rally truck kits. Dodge didn't do theirs for as long, though, if I remember right. They had what was called the Ram Runner. The Ram Runner was actually more of an actual trophy truck, though, comparative to the Ford Raptor. That's not me trying to dog on the Raptor. I'm just saying the people who consider that truck an actual trophy truck are jokesters. The AMG 6x6 qualifies more as a trophy truck than that thing. Hell, even that, the X-Class, that qualifies more as a fucking trophy truck. Even in real life, it's more built and everything. But then again, Mercedes is just a nicer car manufacturer. I think Ford lost their way a long time ago. But then again, I'm in one of the small groups of people who think that Ford GTs look ugly. Sorry, I should clarify that. Ford GTs now are ugly. GT40s are a work of art. That's how I should phrase that. I hate the new looking one. It's just a hypercar. It's just like everyone else. It has barely any uniqueness to it. Every ounce of uniqueness was stripped from it the second it got wide body kits on it. It's like if you put a wide body kit on a Lamborghini Miura. It's like, just make it look like a different car. Just like keeping the shape of the headlights, like roughly keeping the shape of the headlights, doesn't keep the car's like quality intact. GT40 will always be the best incarnation.
British-based.
If I could get that in this game, that's what I'd be running. Get that as a touring car.
What the hell are you doing in this race? I thought I told you this one was mine.
But then again, I never looked at what vehicles they were planning on releasing, just because I don't like spoilers. So, it might be something that will come due to request in the future. I see so many people making the orange and blue skins.
You want to try and make a race of it? I'll school you.
If he could drive as good as he talks, there'd be no way you could beat him.
shit, that went worse than I thought it would.
I really think you can take him.
If only I didn't have slide help on. I could have waited to counter steer out of that and just slid.
Think you'll ever be as good as me? Think again.
I was like, car, why are you going slow? But then I realized I was fat, like, because my hands have been poked so many times by spiky berry bushes, I've lost, like, a lot of the feeling in my fingers recently. And, like, my finger was pinched in between the left trigger and, like, the part where it closes. And it was like the brake was still on, but I couldn't feel it with my finger because my finger is so like nerve dead right now on my left hand. What are the ones coming in September? I'll be honest, only games I'm interested in aren't coming out anytime soon.
My race to win. What do you think you were doing taking it away from me? You need to understand how this relationship works, because right now, it doesn't. Not for me. That's
I can't even get my loot, dude. Fuck it. Just send it to HQ. Here, let's do the tiny race. Which is called ski jump, but it has nothing to do with the ski jump. Oh yeah, the superhero games haven't really interested me.
You think you can take
ever. It's always the same sort of stuff. Not that that's necessarily bad, it's just I've never liked that stuff, so hard to like something that never changes and you then never liked what it was in the first place. I always felt that way about Batman games too, and I always got shit from friends of mine for it. It's such an arbitrary distinction. You say, is it gonna set my loot outside the area where I can grab it? I mean, I could grab it, I just have to get into my fucking airplane or a monster truck to cross a tiny gap. I have to go like this. If only you could use whatever car you wanted for whatever racing series. Has anyone ever tried to rallycross a Dodge Viper before? They actually seem like they'd be pretty good for it. It sucks how little of the actual tracks have tracks. Because there's so many different pathways that the developers of the actual little track areas made that never get used unless you just sit around and free drive. Stuff like this. Ooh. I can't look up, dude. My neck don't work. Who dat? Hold on, I need to get into my... It's not even that the Arkham games are bad, dude. They're just not interesting combat-wise to me. As a Batman game, if you're playing for Batman as Batman, then yeah, they're good games. If you're playing them for an action game, you're playing them for the wrong reasons, though, because Batman's type of action is a very snore-inducing action. Let me fucking play as Cyclops in a video game so I can just go and just ignite shit on fire, even though he's not that strong of a superhero canon-wise, because they don't... The guy with eye lasers somehow is guy who's not that strong guy. Or whatever superhero thing it is from whatever, like Marvel, DC, it doesn't matter. It's all the same, like, the games just play generally the same. The only one, I will say, the only one I found really nice was the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. Because that was more of like a top-down RPG, collect them all sort of character, and they all had different abilities and shit. For the 360 and stuff. I love those games. It's not even that I hate superhero games. I just hate the ones that are basically just a Ubisoft game with a superhero. Instead of Assassin's Creed, you're playing as Batman. You have to like racing games. Definitely. I find a different amount of fun in stuff than normal people, though. I'm the kind of guy who plays like 1,000+ hours of a video game that I'm not even that fond of. So, just take note of that. I still haven't done all of these yet.
that title? No? Just a motocross title, maybe. No? Ah, well. Maybe I'll take my shot at
Error 404. Well, to be honest, did you play any of the Crew 1's DLC? Like Wild Run and any of that? Because this game does have something that's remnant of that game, but was only added post-DLC in the Crew. And that's the rubber bandy-ass AI that is impossible to lap. I have lapped it before, but that's only because it got stuck on a terrain object and was too stupid to reset.
Well, look at you, taking the lead.
This one has also some pretty cringe-inducing dialogue in it, but that's sort of normal fodder for a video game. Things like Need for Speed Carbon had like some of the most cringe-inducing dialogue for its time. Where it's like, it assumes its audience are like a bunch of hoodlums who are gonna fucking go out and drive like a bunch of maniacs, which they did, because people are that retarded. When you tell them not to do something, people are gonna do it. Period. Just period. I don't give a fuck what anyone's logic is. You tell someone not to do something, only like 1 out of every 10 people are gonna be a good person in this day and age. Because music in the modern, like, everything about society has bred into people the want to be an asshole and then act like they're not being an asshole, and that you have to somehow like be nice to them to somehow pay back their entitled mentality for you making fun of whatever they do. Like people who listen to fucking trap music nonstop and yet somehow try to defend that shit. The same kind of people who listen to trap music are the same kind of people who frown when a dude drives by their house at night with their bassy ass music, when that person would have done the same shit if they were in that situation. I, on the other hand, choose to be the actual good Samaritan. If most people even knew what the word Samaritan means. I think the average mentality of people is so dumbed down that I don't even think that that is a word that most people will have heard. Kids don't like school. You see the fucking videos online of the teachers not being able to fight back against kids because teachers nowadays have to listen to everything that the kids... they can't abuse the kids. Where I grew up in a small town, my fucking teacher, like... they'd, like, tell you the fucking terrible ass shit and there was nothing that you could fucking do about it. You thought that other people in the building were gonna believe you? You're the kid that gets in trouble all the time. You're not gonna get believed that one of the teachers said like some terrible ass shit to you. Multiple times. Happened to several different kids. Especially as the kids got older. Because most of the people who were teachers in that area really shouldn't have even been teachers. The principle of the... Because when I was like 3 to 4 years old, my grandmother tried to send me, or I shouldn't say my grandmother, I should say my grandmother pretty much forced my mother into sending me into this like shitty little Catholic school thing that was in the middle of town. And it turns out that the guy who ran this place turned out to be a huge fucking pedophile. And me as a kid, I didn't even know anything or think anything like... And it wasn't me who was the person that was affected by it either. It was like one of the older groups of kids, because I was like 3 to 4 years old at the time. And I got pulled out of that school and put into normal public school after that, because my mother stopped listening to my grandmother. And they got into a huge argument about that bullshit for exactly that reason. And my family is not religious now. So... say what you will, that is like one of the biggest reasons why not to be. Not because religion is bad, but because that kind, like, largely practiced religion is bad. If you go to church, you're part of the problem. If you stay home and just believe what you want to believe, you're fine. You're not harming anyone. People who do the other thing are harming people, not only in the manner of misbelieving and misguiding, but also just in stealing from people. I'd give money to a street performer before I'd give money to a fucking stupid ass motherfucker who's reading a book, acting like he's coming up with this shit. He wrote a slightly changed version of something that was already not that great in the first place. Yay! And your 60-year-old grandmother is like all exhilarated for it. I can't even remember what my initial conversation topic was about. I just hate people. I get into that rant so often where I'm just like, I can't fucking, oh, sorry. I'm trying to quit the event, but I keep hitting the options button because Ubisoft is fucking retarded, period. That's why. That's why that happened there, is because Ubisoft is retarded. I refuse to take the blame for them trying to be original with their controls. You put the options button and the restart race button on the options button. You don't put it on the press triangle to open a sub menu and then hold X for 5 seconds button. Fucking Ubisoft. Shit soft. Diarrhea soft. Terrible soft. Shit in my eye soft. Ubiquitous soft. I love that, again, Ubisoft's idea of motocross is a bunch of wooden jumps and a bike landing on flat ground. Because that's how bikes work in real life, right? You're totally not just gonna get whiplash and get thrown off the fucking bike, dude. This is like Battlefield hardline levels of bike physics. Who cares about doing flips? Because when you're actually doing races, it doesn't give you anything extra. So what the fuck is the point? It's shit like that as well. Like, the jumps are positioned in such nonsensical, like, was this a 7-year-old kid who made this? Honestly, I made better tracks in MX vs. ATV Unleashed when I was younger than this. On PC, that game had a pretty extensive map creator as well. Because like I said, I've always played off-road games. It's just that they don't fucking exist anymore because everyone hates off-road racing. Everyone wants to be the next cool guy driving a fucking Porsche 911 at 190 miles an hour through Florida Keys. Everyone's so cool. And while you're at it, you gotta make fucking hip-hop the key music of Street Race. The first Street Race you do in this game, by the way, when you go and do the Street Race discipline, forces you to listen to trap music as the music turned on for that race event, unless you forcibly turn it off. You can't even change it. It's the same thing with the first off-road event. It makes you listen to fucking rock music. I don't hate rock music, I'm just saying it's fucking terrible design. I gotta listen to some fucking black dude talk about the money he's making while I'm trying to drive. I don't give a shit, dude. I also don't give a shit if you're black, so stop talking about it. I know I'm the one who said it, but that's how it is nowadays. It's like, when the opposite person mentions something about it, you're the victim because you're the person who then comments about that and acknowledges it. Like, why did you even have to mention it in the first place? That's the other thing about trap music that fucking irritates me. Is the, like, perpetuation of the ghetto mentality regardless of skin color, but somehow still bringing skin color into it when it doesn't even fucking matter anymore. You only make it matter more the more you try and make it matter, because you make it matter. Even Morgan Freeman's fucking smarter than that, and he's 80 years old or something like that. Like, come the fuck on. People need to fucking smarten the fuck up. I'm not racist. I wasn't raised in a place where race was even something that was considered a thing. People made funny jokes about it. There were stereotypes, but it wasn't fucking, like, some kid got attacked because of it. I know that happens in other places and has happened before. But that's because people make a limelight out of it, and those fucking people aren't taught to shut the fuck up by the people who do actually not care. Because they don't care. And it's only when shit starts going down that the people who don't care have to care, because the other people who cared even care in the first place. Because no one else cares anymore. It's the most infuriating thing about society is that people cause their own fucking problems but won't fix them. And then they relate it to dumb shit like skin color. The place that I live is terrible and ghetto. Are you trying to fix it? Are you outside in the tiniest little bit of yard? Are you sticking up hanging gardens outside your brick building to try and make it look better? No. You're sitting inside complaining about how it's shit and how it's the hood and it's never gonna get better, and we don't. And even when you try to make it, we don't want it better. We're going to shut people down and try to make it better. And it's like, you are your own problem. Deal with it. I'm like so sick of the modern generation of people, and this is like built up rage from talking to people who think like this every fucking day. Listening to fucking dudes who literally walk down the street with music blasting from their iPhone, reciting fucking trap lyrics as they're walking. Like, are you insane where you live and what you're acting like in the place that you're living right now? Like, get a fucking grip. And then people look at me fucking weird because I'm outside picking berries. Like an actual human. Like, fuck people right now. Seriously. Also, sorry. I'll get back to racing in a second. I'm going out for a smoke real quick. I'm still gonna be on mic, but the game's just gonna be sitting here looking at Nachos Locos. Doesn't seem to be that bad. I looked up the lightning maps. If there's any more flashes of lightning, I'm gonna shut it off, because I really don't want the fucking power to go out while this is plugged in. I've had so much bad luck with shit being fried by lightning. Let me just look at the lightning maps again, real quick. My stream lags, it's because I'm looking that up. I'm just trying to look at what direction it's going, if it's coming over us or... Oh yeah, that's like pretty much already past us. Never mind. It's like forming on that side. I just happened to see the one single flash of lightning when I was out there. I have literally had so many things over the years fried by lightning, regardless of having surge protectors or anything like that. I even use the industrial surge protectors. Ones for like working in the shop that are made for power tools and shit like that. And I've had shit get fried through those, so don't ever think that this stuff is foolproof. You gotta replace them all the time, and they're only good for power surges. They're not good for the actual high voltage that can sometimes come in if your power box triggers and lightning strikes somehow in the same place twice. Which, due to video, is actually becoming more increasingly common to see. Due to video, satellite, and stuff like that. The fact we can use thunder and multiple sound-based detection facilities to determine where a lightning strike was placed without even having to actually see the strike of lightning. Because you can pinpoint where the thunder came from, because the thunder is caused by the lightning strike. But this is also made a little bit more difficult due to the fact lightning strikes, and this was figured out by the system, lightning strikes can actually stretch upwards of miles. And I believe they discovered the longest lightning strike from satellite. It was all the way from Alabama to North Dakota or something. I've talked about this multiple times, but I can never remember how far it actually went. It was all the way across central US. I guess I really didn't need to water my plants. Alright, I'm back. See, shit like this, Hoodlum event. Why you gotta call it hoodlum? Why is it hood? What makes it hood? What makes this hoodlum? Swamp snake. Physics. Fuck. I forgot how difficult the boats are to control sometimes. Get your head out of your ass. Oh, that's a wall. That's really cool, even though it makes no logical sense. Oh wait, that's right. I'm supposed to be practicing Chaebang.
If you want to call me a brat, go ahead. I take pride in it. I can play beer pong and still beat anyone, anytime, at anything. Except maybe Sunday morning.
Wow,
Saturday nights.
bench.
So find your inner brat. I need the competition on the beer pong side.
I don't like beer. If you put a shot of vodka in it, then I will be down. Sorry, I couldn't remember where Chaebang was. I'm still like 40 seconds or so off of world record, so I know I have a lot to improve, considering these cars are the most identical ones in terms of driving. It's not my fault that the game won't give me any upgrades that are actually good. let's race from third person for once. I always do cockpit. Maybe third person cam will give us some luck. Oh no. Those are some really bad turns, dude. Like, I could do those so much better. That's figurative me talking to real me. Buddy, that's not fair. How did you correct that easily? God damn it, I can never get that turn right. How am I wheel spinning less when it's rain? Ubisoft, do you know how tire grip works? Do you, like, understand the prospects of what it means to hydroplane? Especially because, like, Indy cars in real life, their tires are, like, flat and bald. They don't have any water escaping qualities of them, so they just kind of spin when they hit a puddle. They don't actually grip onto anything because it cools the surface of the tire down, which the key, like, component of what makes an Indy car, like, stick to the road is the fact its tires are heated to a certain temperature. Like, just some Formula One knowledge for you. Also, if you didn't know, they keep the tires in little tire warmers before they put them on the car. I'm not even joking. When they do the, like, pit crew thing where they swap out the tires on Indy cars instantly, they do an entire tire change in less than, like, 2.5 to 4 seconds. And really, the extra time is just dependent on gas. It's ridiculous. But yeah, the tires right before they put them on are all preheated because they need to be hot when they are put on the car, or at least pre-warmed so that the car doesn't have to heat them up from cold, because the car will just slide. They also have 3 different types of tires that they run in real Formula 1. I can't remember exactly what they're called. Excuse me, laddie. Ow. How do they do that, dude? That was just bad. Here, let's go tire tread view, as I nicknamed it. Son of a bitch. I just stopped playing with the camera. Jesus Christ, buddy. Fuck. I was trying to stay in draft, but all I ended up doing was eating shit because of it. That time the AI was also a lot more vicious.
3, 2,
I was running almost the same time. Whoops. Sorry, I was looking at something. Whoops. A little bit too much brake there. I always underestimate how much brake you actually need to slow this car down sometimes. You can't even e-brake to break it loose. Really? Is it in the same exact spot it was before? You can even see where I flew before. What a shit lord. love the idea of just the wheels spinning like that. In reality, you just shift a gear up. I don't know how I did that crazy spin. I tapped off the wall or something. Holy shit, what the fuck? He wasn't even boosting. It's the same bullshit that was happening last night. Where the AI is driving at world record fucking speeds. Because they're fucking bullshit. Bro, could you possibly crank the steering wheel just a little bit farther? You fuck. I'm holding full on the left analog stick 90% of the time. And the guy's moving the thing at a tiny little angle. It's like, turn the fucking steering wheel, dude. Just to be able to withstand the G-forces of cars like this, you gotta be a strong-ass motherfucker. You're telling me you can't turn that wheel any harder than that. Sure, and them being hit in the ass has no effect on their ability to turn. They didn't even have to use the brakes to correct. Like, Jesus Christ, how the fuck was I even leading the race in the first place? If they're driving so fucking good. Holy shit, they're just trying to run me off the fucking road. What kind of fucking IndyCar racers are you? Jeez. The first race I did that was IndyCar tonight, I think I got hit maybe once by the AI. Now I'm getting hit like 30 times a race. Even if I avoid them. I'm not even going to touch a single one off the line. I'm not going to be an asshole. You wait. 15 seconds from now, the guy's going to come up behind me at like 200 miles an hour in the corner and slam into my ass. Look at how many of them went off the fucking road because of the rubber banding that just picked up and gave them like a sudden burst of like 30 miles an hour. And even the AI didn't know what to do with it. If you play it back, you'll see it. All the AI dots go off the track and into the dirt. But because the rubber banding is so strong, it doesn't even stop them for more than a second or two before they're immediately back on the track and going just as fast as they were before. You could have just shifted instead of just squealing the fucking tires down the straightaway, but whatever, dude. I always love how automatic in video games is your guy still using it as a manual, but it's just either you're controlling it or your guy is just as retarded with the gears. Where he just won't shift or he won't leave it in a gear when it's slightly below a certain RPM range. SMD, asshole. Sure. It's not Chaebang, but whatever. I forgot how atrocious these things steer. And how bullshit the AI is with them. Whoops. Sorry, I was looking at something. Just checking to make sure that the storm wasn't coming back around.
What we got here today is a race for charity. Here to call.
You didn't beat it. You suck. Cockle. Sorry, I had to have some of these fresh black raspberries. I could eat about 1,000 of these. Sorry. Woo. People who neglect the ability to just eat those kinds of things when they live nearby them. You'd be surprised the amount of people that live around here that don't know what a berry bush looks like. That's because they're looking for a bush. Normally. Oh my god, my mic's all tangled around me. Sorry. What? What? Never mind. Never mind though. Oh, fuck. Excuse me. Oh wait, that's right, I wanted to go into my options. What the hell is this monstrosity? I got like a packet of like these cheese cracker things. And it's like cracker, cheese, cheese. So it's got like, well, cheese, cracker, cheese, cheese. So it's 3 crackers, 5 cheese. What the fuck? Who fucked that up? Whoa. And now I'm so used to drifting with fucking slide assist on. Drift shifters. Sounds like a shitty Hot Wheels line. Now I feel like it's even... Now I feel like it's even less realistic. Now it like steers out of a drift too easily, regardless of if you're throttling or not, which shouldn't be how it works. Like, I was holding full throttle there. I should have just stayed sliding until I let off the gas. That's how drifting works. The actual physics of drifting in real life are if you keep holding the gas when you're coming out of a turn where your wheels were already spinning full RPM, you're not gonna, like, throttle to gain control simply by turning straight. You have to let off. Fucking idiots at UB shit. They're probably the kind of people that eat tacos from the center. Deranged people. Just like the deranged people who only eat hard shell tacos. Disgusting. Not that hard shell tacos are bad, it's just if you can't appreciate it as a soft shell, then I think you're just eating it partially for the corn chip flavor. Which, I mean, a corn tortilla and a tortilla chip are basically the same thing. One's just cooked to being crunchy and the other one isn't. And it's cut into triangles. The other one's cut into a big circle. Which really they should be ovular for optimum efficiency. Because cutting circles out of dough, no matter what, means you're going to have excess where the circles intersect. You're going to have that little, like, star-shaped thing in the center of 4 circles. Which, I mean, you have it with ovals too, but ovals have less loss because they have more surface area that you're cutting out. You're leaving behind more when you're just doing a circle because the left behind area is bigger, if it makes any sense. Surface area. Oh yeah, this is what I was talking about. I'm forced to listen to shitty trap. Because I'm racing a guy who street races from Florida. Trap! Trap! I'll show you to force me to listen to fucking garbage. I'll turn it the fuck off. Think I give a shit? I played like 700 hours of Fallout without having the radio on because of copyright. Oh, you fucking bullshit ass game. Suck a dick. Of course, now he's gonna fucking go at 1,000 miles an hour when he wasn't even driving that hard originally. I swear I was being forcibly slowed down there. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but my car would not go. Yeah, the McLaren apparently is just allergic to speeds that are higher than 160 miles an hour. Fucking A. I hate the hypercars in this game.
3, 2,
It's so
1.
unbelievably bullshit, the fact they steer better than some other cars, which actually have better proportions and physics for actually steering. Fuck it. What's the point, dude? I'm only gonna steer properly if I have to. What's the fucking point? You go so fast, you just bounce off the walls. Same spot as last time, because the RNG car generator just wants to get on my fucking bad side today. Yeah, it just wants to get on my fucking bad side. Just gonna pop cars out in front of me, right in the middle of a good racing line. And then remember why I don't do fucking racing lines in hypercars. And then lose to AI because they can just magically fucking recover from that shit instantly. Like that. You even see him like just fucking speed up magically. Fucking 30 miles an hour instantly. So horse shit. It's not even Need for Speed type fairness. It's just bullshit. It's the only way to describe it. Literally smacked into a car and recovered faster than I could pass him. When at the start of the race, dude drives half the speed. Yep, that's how physics work. Now I'm not going to be able to catch him even though I'm not even racing that much different. It's just because the AI is so bullshit, dude. And there's RNG car fucking generator that doesn't affect the AI but affects you like no tomorrow.
3.
I want to fucking pull my hair out with this bullshit. Fucking hate hypercars. Hate them in real life and I hate them in video games. They're always the same bullshit. Stupidly good at turning, even though in real life they're absolute fucking garbage. But it's only good at turning when it's an inconvenience to you. That's what I meant. Only wants to steer when it's a fucking inconvenience to you. All the other time, all it does is want to understeer. Even when you let off the gas, brake, and fucking turn. There's no point in even trying to do half of this shit legitimately, because his AI is just absolute horse shit. Yeah, it's really fucking easy to beat the player when they know every single car is coming from 100 yards away. When the fucking player can't even see.
3, 2, 1.
So great. Like seriously. Like seriously. What is that? What is that?
3, 2,
Garbage is what it is.
1.
Pathetic. How are you gonna call yourselves a AAA developer with garbage like that? And he's programmed to do it. It's not even an if. It's every time he comes to his turn, I go 50 miles an hour. I'm actually just following him because I'm curious where his AI all of a sudden takes off like a rocket. Yeah, and I'm doing... Of course. He lives, but I don't. Again, AI bullshit. We're in the same fucking car, by the way. If you didn't know. Oh, it's right here. Yeah. So once you get past the bridge sections, his AI goes fucking nuts. Especially if you're in front of him. I'm just waiting for him to hit me in the ass. Going 300. Oh, fuck me. Of course. Of course, that wall that always makes your car magically pop up in the air. Could be any other wall on the track, but no, it has to be that one. Has to be that one that's not fucking optimized properly to be run into like all other walls in the game. When people complain about wall banging in a game that doesn't even have crashing physics in it. Let's go off-road. Because it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to be able to catch him at this fucking point because he's just going fucking 300 something miles an hour. Impossible for me to keep up because I'll just run into a car that's unavoidable because I can't turn nearly as fast or recover as fast as he can because he's a master of street race and trap music and subwoofers. Bet he has a good set of those as well. Loser. Oh my god, I hate this fucking bullshit. I hate hypercars. The hypercar races themselves are the same bullshit. It's you, if you just putt behind them for most of the race, you'll be fine. If you pass them for even a nanosecond, the AI is 300 miles an hour for the entire rest of the race, and you're not catching them. Unless they hit the pre-programmed spots on the map where they slow down a ridiculous amount for no fucking reason whatsoever. Going 150 on a straightaway in between turns, and then you pass them and all of a sudden they're 250 again. That's why I love the fact this game has a live replay. I'm just kind of torn on the fact that they don't have a thing that lets you turn on the speedometer for cars. So you can blatantly watch the fucking mile per hour gauge jump up and down as you pass and go by them. You know, like Gran Turismo 3 and Gran Turismo 2, how you could see how much throttle the AI was using and how on a lot of the cars in that game the AI actually didn't use full throttle in Gran Turismo 3. They used like 85% throttle. And you can see it when you go into the replay and you watch how they shift and stuff like that. That game had legit AI in it. It had a little tiny bit of rubber banding, but it was like so insignificant that it wasn't even noticeable. Because you would lap people, like the guy in last place would get lapped in Gran Turismo on the endurance races like fucking 20 times. But you would have the guys up near the front that would still be like if you weren't doing a decent job at keeping a straight line, they were hauling. They aren't breaking the game physics, but they're hauling. They're doing their best. It's why I also like Test Drive. Test Drive was the same way. They just had a bunch of retarded AI and then just gave them over-upgraded vehicles. I think, honestly, that's a better balancing system than this fucking bullshit. This bullshit is just atrocious. I'd rather have dumb AI that can barely drive the track but has a massively overpowered vehicle for them than a fucking guy who somehow manages to always stay caught up to me no matter how well or how bad I do in a certain section of a track. I could do an entire minute worse in this race and be in the same exact position I am in right now. I could be doing this a minute faster and be in the same fucking position I am in right now. Because it means nothing. Literally, the last minute of the race is the only point that anything matters. I just keep resetting it because I always like being in fucking first for most of the races. Because in reality, this is the dandelion, fairies, and butterfly game where you miraculously somehow recover 90% into the race because the shit auto, like, slows down for you. Fuck me, I had this car tuned for something else. Why did it have to choose this car? I should have fucking thought about it beforehand. This car is tuned for a fucking track race. Not for the garbage ass street races which have non-stop and your car doesn't ever get grip unless you set your suspension soft. Oh yeah, of course. He hits me in the air and his hitbox prioritizes mine, so I get fucking shoved off to the side like a paperweight in my giant ass coupe. Yeah, whatever. There's no point, dude. There's no point in being good at racing in this game. You can go and watch some dude doing the world record and the shit's right up behind them. It's only fun to do fucking rallycross and other shit in this game. But they don't have more than fucking 6 tracks. No, stop. World record. More like world's luckiest guy who didn't run into a fucking car. Because it didn't spawn one 2 feet in front of him around a corner where you can't possibly see it. Congratulations, world record. You retried the race 178 times with a max upgraded vehicle. Congrats. You want a cookie? Yeah. Every corner I brake because I expect there to be a car on the other fucking side. Because you can't see above the gates that are on every fucking corner in this game. Because apparently every fucking highway just has concrete barriers. There ain't a single highway where I live that has a fucking concrete barrier on it. They only have guardrail. Maybe if Ubisoft actually got out a little bit, they would know this. Only major highways use concrete barriers. Hell, even the fucking stupid bridges in Florida don't have concrete barriers. They have a separation, like, in between. I mean, they obviously have a barrier, so you can't just drive off, but it's not just like you have a fucking black and yellow fucking thing in the center of the road that you can just drive into at 100 miles an hour and die. It's all rounded off with the little round cap end sections that go on the concrete barriers. It's not just a fucking blunt end concrete. I always miss that fucking turn. It doesn't matter. I pretty much win guaranteed if I just finish the race at this point. Because his AI glitched. Which happened to me before. Not even a victory, just another dumb fucking bullshit thing that happens because of Ubisoft's ineptitude. At everything. Only thing they're good at is referencing their older games. Like every other game developer now. You want to know the definition of insanity? You want to know the definition of me fucking your ass? Not very pleasant. Oh, yeah. Car around a blind turn in front of me. Totally had that happen on the world record run. Oh, fuck me. He's actually gonna catch me and win, isn't he? Because of rubber banding. And the fact that this thing drives like an absolute shit on this. Who the fuck likes these Florida races anyways? All the Florida races are the worst ones in the game. Because the fucking track surface is just... Can't believe street racing is popular here. Oh wait, that's right. In real street racing, you don't jump over wooden half pipes onto shitty sidewalk sections. You drive on the street like in Need for Speed, like an actual street racing game, with there being occasional shortcuts through alleyways, like a racing game. Not fucking nonsensical jumping in street race because you don't have physics in your game, and because you don't have physics you need to make a dual note of that. Instead of making actual nice looking custom jumps, you just paste wood texture on top of an angled slope. It's not a matter of getting better. It's a matter of you make one mistake and it's your fault you lost. I don't even care if I win it or not. I've already beaten it. Now I can turn fucking music back on and stop being aggravated. But I'm gonna stop playing anyways. I'm just so done. I've had enough of this shit AI for one night. You shouldn't have to drive perfect an entire race just in order to maintain more than a couple second lead. When you have such a vastly superior car to your enemies. That is the problem. It's not even a matter of, like, skill or anything. Again, Gran Turismo, Forza. But even Forza has rubber banding in it, but its rubber banding is only catch up. It's not catch up and pass at 250 miles an hour in a car that doesn't even have a top speed for that. Which I've had happen several times. It's just bullshit.
3, 2, 1.
I'm not the only fucking person complaining about it either. The delusion of thinking that this is fine is the problem. It encourages people like me to not give a fuck. Why try when you race? It doesn't matter. You try, you get fucked over because you make one tiny mistake, and it means as much as if you had just driven like dog shit the entire race. Because it does. That's just how this game's AI works. You can drive like dog shit the entire race and still come back, no problem. Because now that I'm not in first, they're not gonna drive. Like, you can see how much input I'm doing with the guy in the fucking game. And 90% of the time, the tiniest little input that I do, it's like, oh yeah, massive oversteer and just fucking start sliding for no fucking reason. You just barely were touching the analog stick, but we're gonna receive that input as if you were holding the steering wheel all the way full right in that moment. Even though it's clearly not being animated as such. Out of all the things that need to be changed, the AI needs to be changed. It's a definite yes. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of it has to be if they want this game to continue to be successful for single player at all. Because currently right now in the game, don't even bother playing against AI, because the AI is just bullshit. It's so bullshit, in fact, that when you try to play with your friends, if you're using an upgraded vehicle and you play with your friend and he's doing normal mode and he's not doing hard, normal mode AI actually is confirmed to rubber band even more than hard mode AI. So you make it impossible for your friend to even be able to keep up with the guy in last place by bringing a car that's better than his car. Because it artificially inflates the difficulty of everyone else trying to keep up with the guy who's in first place. It's bullshit. It's so bullshit, it makes doing half of the races just asinine. Because it either ends up always being the same thing. Because if you run a perfect race and you do well, you win every time. Because they're just going to stay up behind you enough. And if you just pull out in front of them or just boost a little bit to like build up that little tiny bit of lead that you had before, you're fine. You hit the wall and lower your speed by like 20 to 30 miles an hour, guys right up behind you on your ass. Almost every time. The only time that isn't the case is when you're doing hypercars. Hypercars on hard difficulty, for whatever reason, their AI on the long ass races from like New York to Las Vegas or New York to LA is broken and doesn't rubber band after like halfway through the race, so you get like 3 to 5 minute leads. But that's the only race where you can get that. It's the only one. Every other race, the shit's gonna stay right up behind you. But in that one, the AI just fucks up. But I wouldn't even know. The AI is so random and arbitrary in this fucking game, it's unbelievable. I don't even like it. I'm gonna go out for a smoke and I'm just gonna shut my stream off because I'm so done. Hopefully the Wild Run DLC for the Crew 2 does the opposite of what it did for the Crew 1 and take away this garbage-ass AI we've had to deal with. Garbage. I want the cream of the crop. That is a terrible Macho Man impression. And yes, I am very aware that I suck at racing. The thing that you probably aren't aware of is so does the AI. Michael left me a t-shirt. He must have heard me in there raging when he came out to place it. I also rage more just for the fun of it, because no one else does. No one else rages in a super critical manner. I have the intelligence to do a lot of stuff, I just suck at doing it. I'm always the do as I say, not as I do sort of person. But see, the thing is, I'm a trial and error kind of gamer, and that type of AI does not allow you to trial and error your way through the AI. Not like Gran Turismo, not like Forza. You can't just learn to be better and adapt to the way that they're taking the turns and stuff like that. Because they will take it in a complete bullshit, impossible to take manner for your car. They just will. I've seen them do it so many times. It's like Trackmania stuff. Like, that shit was hard, but it was hard in a way where, like, you had to be ultra precise. And it was like, with enough tries, I could beat most of those tracks. I even went back to it and started beating some of the Black Series tracks. Just because I missed the actual drifting in that game. If I want arcadey drifting, I want it to be press right trigger and hold the opposite direction, not fucking fandango your analog stick to make sure your car is at the perfect angle to accelerate, but still be drifting. Because it's not even realistic in that manner. Again, in real life, you get into a good drift and you're steering almost exclusively with counter steer, not with actual steering. But I'm gonna shut off my stream. Nothing I say matters anyways. I'll be back tomorrow. You can tell me to shut the fuck up some more then.